Okay, then here we go. So, welcome everybody back to Ram Wrestling Podcast. My name is Richard.
And I'm Mark.
Hello, Mark. How are you today?
I'm awesome. How about yourself?
Yeah, really good, thanks. So, it's been a while since we've done this, but we've been waiting for more stuff to talk about. This is the WWE Backlash 2025 review and some other little sprinkles of dust afterwards in regards to where do we think it's going. So let's just kickstart off with basically our first impressions. Mark, what did you think of Backlash 2025?
I think there's been better Raws recently than there has been Backlashes. Things didn't move along, in my opinion. They just stayed the same, it seems, which is sometimes okay. But I wasn't surprised by anything in the results.
No.
How about yourself?
I didn't really have any major expectations going into it, and I think it kind of met them and a little bit exceeded them. But overall, I was like, this is a pay-per-view that nobody's really going to talk about. In fact, I think we might get 3 months down the line and go, oh yeah, that happened. So there was some stuff to enjoy, but it's always hard to enjoy an event when you already know what the results of the entire card is going to be. And I don't think predictable necessarily means bad. You know, there's plenty of movies that I've watched where they're very predictable, but they're still great. But some of the storylines were kind of, yeah. There's background to this, to be honest. But overall, I thought it was good, okay to good. Something like that. I thought it's okay, to be honest. So, but there's plenty to we can take from this. It definitely got me thinking about where things are going with certain wrestlers, and I was like, okay. But I also was, and I think you feel the same, a little bit burnt out from WrestleMania, and I was like, this feels a little bit too soon for another pay-per-view. But I also think that's a feeling we're going to have to get used to, because we've got a lot more coming in, and I think we can thank John Cena for that, to be quite honest, because we're like, get that man on tour. So, but yeah. So I think what we'll do is that I've written down the order. I've made a few notes. Not many, if I'm honest, but I've got some notes on here. So we'll start off with what I thought was the perfect match to open up the pay-per-view, which was the Fatal 4-Way between Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And I just wrote down perfect opener.
Yep. That's the best match on the card, in my opinion. Yep. There was like a little surprise in the match, which I didn't expect. And I didn't really know who that guy is. I don't know if you know who he is. But just like a meaty fella that's come from, I don't know, the forest or something.
The meaty man from the forest.
Yeah, just seems to have appeared. Apparently, Drew McIntyre might have got quite injured in that match. I don't know if you saw.
Oh no, I didn't know anything about that. Makes sense. So had some pretty good spots in this match that I thought, okay, so these guys knew what they were doing. They're like, we're opening up the show for a pay-per-view that, let's be honest, does not really matter. And this match didn't have to be this good, to be quite honest, but although they had to make it good because it was the first match, and second of all, as repeated, it's a pay-per-view that's not really driving much forward. So can we at least make it entertaining? To be so good spots there. Jacob Fatu, man. I mean,
he's a monster.
He's so over.
Is he like over because he's a badass? Which yes. But does that mean he's a face or still a heel that's really over?
He's hit the grey area. All the greats are in this grey area. They're heels, but they're loved, which means they're given the creative freedom of not having to bow down to the crowd and do what makes a hero guy John Cena for 20 years, because kids love him. He's an absolute badass. I love that he wears the United States like it's a collar. Do you know what I mean? He's just like a dog collar, and like the collar's off, get him. And he's just fascinating to watch. Like the whole, I want to say rabid Wolverine, but that's literally Wolverine from X-Men. This is what is it again? The Samoan werewolf. That's it.
Yeah.
His whole the thing that he does.
Which should, like, if any other person did that, they'd look like a knob, right?
Yeah.
But because he does it, it's like he still looks a little bit like a knob.
This is
but you don't want to say it to his. You don't want to say it to his face. He'll run at you.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah. I see something. Are we going to play a long game with this still? Like, with this, are they going to get the other members of Solo's family back, and then it like?
I think Fatu is he's going to be the leader of the bloodline, to be honest, because even though you've got Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns he's not part of that faction anymore. Even though he is the tribal chief, he's not part of Solo's bloodline. That's like the family divorce kind of thing. So I think Fatu is definitely going to be taking the reins. What they're going to do with Solo Sikoa, I have absolutely no idea. And to be honest, I don't think they need to do anything with him at the moment. I think he's fine just sort of just being there, just helping Fatu just basically get bigger and bigger. Obviously going to result in a match at some point. Nothing too big, not like a WrestleMania match or anything like that. If you're going to do that with Fatu, you're going to have him go against Roman Reigns. And I think that's a match I would very much like to see down the line.
Great to see.
But yeah, he's got the belt on him. And I see him elevating the United States Championship. I mean, let's be honest, man. There are some pretty big names for this belt in this match. So Damian Priest, ex-World Heavyweight Champion. Same with Drew McIntyre. LA Knight he's on that rise.
Future World Champion.
Yeah, I would put him in that echelon. He's too popular. He's got a lot better in the ring. Not that he was ever bad, but it's time for him to come up. So weirdly enough, you've got 3 wrestlers in a match that are above the belt, and Jacob Fatu is already above this belt. To be honest, like, is it too soon? Because I was thinking, like, man, maybe he drops the title and they just have him win Money in the Bank. I'm like, I don't know. Is it too soon? Not sure about that one. But I thought it was a really good match. Lots of table spots. Lots of drama going on. That guy turned up, and Jeff Cobb, and I was just like, Jeff Cobb, who are you? Like, I was just like, I don't know who you are. But
I guess we don't know indie wrestling.
There we go. Yeah, I was like, AEW, TNA, New Japan. No, I don't know. So let's just see what's going on. I also sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
No.
I like the fact that Jacob was like conflicted with Solo. Like, I didn't need your help.
I didn't. And who's this?
Yeah, thank you, but maybe don't do that because I want to win by myself. You don't need to do this. So yeah, that's what I was reading from that thing. So I was like, okay, so you're getting a little bit of conflict within the bloodline there because Solo is going to betray Fatu at some point. That's how I see it happening. And that might make an interesting match at a pay-per-view down the line. Maybe even at SummerSlam. You might have Solo versus Jack Jacob for the United States champion. And maybe you could do that. You could give Solo Sikoa the belt and then Jacob's free of it. Start his ascension. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, with all that going on, just LA Knight left on his own, really. He was the one to take the beating.
Yeah.
You had McIntyre and Priest doing their thing in the crowd, and he has to take the onslaught from Mr. Corner of the Cob himself.
Corner of the Cob. Yeah. But overall, I thought this was a fun match. It had a lot of these interesting spots on it, a lot of drama, and I was like, yeah, that was a great opener, to be quite honest. Okay, so moving on to the second match, which was Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. And this was I mean, this was a good match, to be quite honest. I'm not sure how I feel about Lyra at the moment, to be quite honest. I'm not sure where I am. I'll let you start with this one. But yeah, what did you think of the match? What are your thoughts?
I had Lyra down to win.
Yeah.
Whereas not a lot of people did have it down to win. The thing, Becky Lynch is coming back, but why is she coming back?
Yeah.
What stories can she tell? Like at this point, she's not going to just win the Intercontinental Champion when they're trying to get this belt more liked.
Yeah.
And it's still a mid-card title, really. She can win it, but she has to push this girl up a bit. She has to push this girl up a bit before anything happens, and I think this match did that, in my opinion. I'm a fan of Lyra. Like I have been since the Queen of the Ring. So
okay.
I'm happy that she won, and I thought it was a good match.
Yeah. I was listening to a couple of predictions from other YouTubers as well, and they all said Becky Lynch, and I found that very surprising because to me was like, Lyra's winning this. I was like, they're really pushing Lyra at the moment. They're giving her good opponents. They've put the belt on her for a while. So I was thinking this could go two ways. Well, there's two people in a match. Of course, it can only go two ways. I was like, you could put the belt on Becky, and Becky can wander around with the Intercontinental Championship, which to me seems a little bit strange because she's above that belt. You know, it might build the gravity of the Intercontinental Championship, but I don't know. And I thought if Lyra loses, I was like, oh, then they'll put Money in the Bank on her because they're clearly pushing her, to be quite honest. And it's working because she's really good. She's got some good moves. She's got a good character on the go. She's great in the ring. So I don't love her at the moment, but I do like her. And I'm like, she's going to be something special soon. I'm just not sure when that will be. But overall, I thought it was good. Lots of kickouts. I'll put on here a bit of a weird finish. So I guess the only way it could have really done.
Yeah, like it wasn't. It just sort of happened. Like it just rolled into it, and 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it could
not a very like sort of like quick and like a fast reversal, isn't it? It's like but it weren't.
It wasn't. It just. I mean, they did everything. They did their finishes on each other twice. I think there were. What is Becky Lynch's rock bottom called? Because I'm just going to call it a rock bottom. What's it called?
The Manhandle Slam.
Manhandle Slam. Okay, yeah. I think she did 3 of them. So I was like, yeah, guys, I think it is time to end the match. Like, if you've kicked out of 3 finishes, then so maybe get this rolled up. But overall, yeah, I'm glad that Lyra's retained the belt. I'm interested to see where she goes next, but it's only going to go up. So. And I'm enjoying Becky as a heel at the moment. I think she's doing a great job. Just waiting for her. I really wanted to join the Seth faction. To me, why would you not do that? Answer that question. Why would you not do that? She hasn't got a belt. She's not doing anything. Why not mix it up? They're married in real life, raising their little evil child at the moment. So I think it could be a pretty interesting angle. Or something. Moving on then, we've got Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for his weekly Intercontinental Championship. So Penta has had, I think this is his 4th Intercontinental Championship in about 5 weeks. And I'm like, this guy, man, just has an opportunity after opportunity. But yeah, and
if you haven't won it by now.
I was just thinking, how many attempts is this man going to have? Lost all of them, obviously, which was justified. But I've put down that suicide dive DDT that Dom did. I was like, that was wicked. So good spots again in this one. Go to that one. So, what are your thoughts on this match? Right result, wrong result? What are your thoughts?
Oh, 100% the right result.
Yeah.
I loved, like you said, the DDT. Can't really remember a lot of the match though. Looking back on it now, I can't really remember a lot that's happened except for El Grande Americana.
Hey man, he was there. He was there. El Grande,
which was my highlight.
Oh, when is he going to take the Spanish stereotype a little bit too far and like hit him with like maracas? Something like that, because he's like his luchador wrestling, like Spanish. It's not offensive. It's too funny to be offensive. Like it's too comical. But I'm just waiting for him to do something like that. But makes sense. Sets up for another match. Maybe not a pay-per-view. Maybe Raw. I don't know. Something like that, you know. But the more El Grande, the happier I am. There was also a really great spot as well. Mexican Destroyer on the apron as well. And if I'm right in thinking, he did one on Carlito as well on the outside.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. Carlito took that like a champion, just to be quite honest. So I was like, yeah, that was really good. So definitely right result. Yeah, happy to keep the belt on Dom for a while. And that's the thing with Backlash. All the results were very, very predictable. But the first 3 matches, pretty solid, I thought.
Just while we're on El Grande Americana, just while it's in my head, I would just like to put him forward for the AAA Heavyweight Championship.
Oh,
at this point. He would be.
Yes, that has just confirmed a thought that I will talk about a little bit later in my head. When I was arranging some thoughts later on, I was like, this feels incomplete, but I don't know why. And I think you've just filled in the blanks, to be honest. So we'll get to that after we've talked about Backlash. I don't have anything much else to say on the Dominic Mysterio and Penta match, personally. Entertaining, very good. I look forward to Penta's next Intercontinental Championship next week on Raw. So, I don't know. And then we move on to, which I think was actually the most interesting match of the night, which was Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Ultimately a bit disappointing, if I'm completely honest. I thought this is the match where something's going to happen. I thought, because, come on, man, Gunther versus Pat McAfee. It's like, definitely McAfee coming out with Shane McMahon vibes with the whole football top and stuff like that. And that's the thing with like Shane McMahon and himself. They don't look like wrestlers because they're kind of not. But Shane McMahon just looks like someone's dad from the crowd on like a five-a-side kind of event. So he just looks like just a dad. But anyway, what did you think of this one, Mark?
I thought someone might have been watching some old Ric Flair tapes with chops.
Right, okay.
Chop after chop after chop.
Yeah.
After chop. The redness on the chests were brilliant. Yeah, match itself, I'm going to say, wasn't living up to what I thought it might be. And Michael Cole getting involved made it even weirder, I think. And then after the match, Gunther with the whole respect thing. It wasn't a good enough match to have showed that respect, in my opinion.
Conflicting information there. I thought this might be kind of like, what do you do with Gunther right now? He's lost the belt. What are you going to do with him? So I thought maybe take him on a little bit of a diversion for a bit. I wrote down Gunther goes on a WWE faculty rampage. So I was like, what does that mean? So I was like, he basically starts fighting with the management and the commentators. And I thought, you've got Michael Cole coming into the ring because obviously he's bros with McAfee. But he's not going to do anything. He's Michael Cole, okay? He'd get absolutely destroyed. But I was like, maybe you've got Wade Barrett right there. So maybe Gunther's got this storyline where he's taking on faculty members and just getting really annoyed with the staff that runs the place. And this could lead to furthermore dispute. And then it could probably result in a match with Nick Aldis, maybe at SummerSlam. Just some kind of weird little side storyline that gets that he starts. Same with Adam Pearce as well. Just basically just taking out the faculty for some reason. I don't know why, but I thought maybe
Ooh.
you could do something like that that's not going to really elevate anything. But it's going to put an interest on the card. Because let's be honest, if you see Nick Aldis versus Gunter, like that's a match that I'm curious about because I'm like, we've never seen Nick Aldis wrestle in WWE. So it's like, Wade Barrett is obviously retired, but I'm like, pretty sure he can still do a bull haul. Something like that. So that's what I was thinking. But no,
Yeah.
we got the respect, and that was it.
No, enough. We kind of would want Wade Barrett to be fighting Drew McIntyre. I think if he comes out of that retirement, I think Wade versus Drew would the match that I'd want to see. I wouldn't really see him fighting Gunther.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree with those points, dude. Completely agree.
Like I said, there's not much more to really say on Backlash, to be honest. Other than the final match, which was Randy Orton, hometown crowd, what a reaction coming on through, versus John Cena, and this was as good as it could be. I think, to be honest, I didn't think it was amazing. There were 13 RKO's in this match, and Cena received 3 of them.
That's good counting.
Sorry.
I said that's some good counting that you did with that.
Good counting skills. I was at this point. I was like, after when I saw 3, I was like, are we going to get a 4th? And then obviously the whole team came in because Cena very deliberately hit the referee with the belt, and how that didn't end in disqualification is absolutely beyond me. But wrestling, the rules are sometimes there, to be honest. But sure. And then he starts RKOing everybody because, it's hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. But I think we all agree that Orton was never winning the belt. Although, Orton would be a good champion right now because he's more popular than ever. Like, people sing his songs. Everyone respects him. Yeah. He's absolutely jacked at the moment. So you look at what he used to look like, and he's like, God, he used to look really kind of scrawny, but that's in comparison to what he's like now. He's such a beefcake now. And I was like, he would make a pretty decent champion at the moment, to be quite honest. Kind of like a filler, if that makes any sense. But I put, to begin with, Old Man House Show match. I was like, this feels a little bit like a house show, and it progressively got a little bit better. Worst STF yet. Like this, I was like, there is so much space around. Like, I was like, this doesn't look remotely painful. It looks quite comforting, to be quite honest. And that's pretty much what I've got on there. So, what have you got, Mark?
I think you've summed up the match side of things. I've been going back, and I've been loads of Backlash pay-per-views from the early years, and I was thinking, do people win the title straight away after Backlash? And it does happen.
Yeah.
like Triple H lost it to Hulk Hogan in 2002 after winning it for 1 month.
Okay.
That's so Randy Orton could have been that person, but now we kind of know that John Cena's holding that belt for a while.
It's his final year. That's the only reason. Maybe if it wasn't John Cena's final year, maybe Orton could hold the belt for a while, and I think that could have been quite good. But John Cena is not as interesting if he doesn't have the WWE Championship. He needs to keep that belt on him because he's the top dog. His promos are fantastic. He's doing great as a heel, but he needs to keep the belt on him. The question is, where does it go? When does it go? I'm very intrigued of where John Cena's final year is going. Does he drop it on his last match, Survivor Series, or anything like that? Or does he drop it sooner and they work a storyline into slowly kind of turning him face again? Because I've got a feeling he won't leave as a heel. I think he'll leave as a face, but I'm not sure what they'll do with that yet. What do you think?
I can't see many people that could take it off him. We've got Orton, Punk, Cody, and nobody big enough. I don't think that it's not going to be someone like Jey Uso or anyone like that.
Nah.
SummerSlam, I think it'd be too soon to take it off him as well.
Agreed.
So maybe his last match, or maybe no one takes it off him, Rich.
There's that possibility.
Like Cena could leave and say he's done all his dates with the championship.
Yeah.
He is done. What he could say. And leave with that title.
Yeah.
And then we could have one more match with him after that. Back. And just the one retirement match.
Yeah.
Could be good.
Could be good. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't retire. Maybe this goes through to Mania next year. I thought that is a possibility. Maybe they go, do you fancy your last match being at Mania next year? I think that's a possibility. But at the moment, this is his final year. Everything works in his favor. So who would take the belt off him? I think it has been leaked online, but I haven't looked for it because I'm like, I don't want to know that, if I'm honest. I like to speculate. I like to enjoy it for the story. I'm not looking for answers. I want the answers on the event it's meant to happen live, for example. I mean, I couldn't get CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank out of my head because of the history that it's got. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It might. We have got 0 matches confirmed for Money in the Bank. So, because we've got Saturday night main event in literally next Saturday. So, like I said, get on that train of like pay-per-views. Which I'm sure will be fine. I like watching it because I like the music, if I'm completely honest. So, and I like the presentation of it. I think it's really cool. But yeah, in regards to the Cena Orton match, it was the best it could be. Oh, my one prediction came true. The only thing. The attitude adjustment counted into the RKO, and I was like, "That's it, I'm happy."
Into the
only thing I was waiting for. Yeah. So I was just like, "Yeah."
Just like to point out that wasn't Richard's only prediction. He predicted pretty much everything else that's happened with the matches, but he was very happy about this one prediction.
Yeah, everybody predicted the results of this.
Let's talk a second then about good old R-Truth and Jimmy.
What's going on with Jimmy?
Jimmy is his imaginary friend.
Oh, I thought you meant Jimmy Uso. I was just like, when did he come into the picture? Yeah, so I actually haven't watched this. I saw it briefly. That he gets the attitude adjustment through the table during the press conference, but I haven't actually seen the clip. So what actually happened?
But you saw him come out in the match, right?
Oh yeah, I saw him come out in the match. Yeah, what did he do anything? He just kind of, he was going for the punt or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just felt odd. And I think this is part of that let's ruin wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Having R-Truth come out a comedic mid-card wrestler and kind of ruin the main event.
Yeah. Some pretty good stuff in there. You know, Randy Orton's attitude adjustment on John Cena through a table. I think John Cena's finisher is maybe one of the most useless finishers there is because it takes 4 or 5 of them and they still don't win. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think we've had 3 of these now. One of them was through a table and Randy's still kicking out. But then again, technically, I tell you what.
Sorry, he's got his 2 new finishers, Rich. He's got his low blow and his world W Championship belt shot.
Yeah.
His 2 new finishers that no one kicks out of.
Nobody. No, bringing back the good old late 90s, early 2000s. Belt shot to the head, game over. That's it. No one's ever getting out of that. That was just, I think Triple H won a number of matches that way back in the day. And I was like, he's got the belt. That's it. It's kill switch. It's all over. You can take 10 pedigrees, but as soon as you get hit with that, that's it. Also, I wanted to mention as well about the power of the promotional RKO compared to the RKOs that happen in actual matches. So John Cena's been RKO'd, I think, 3 times before this match on Raw, SmackDown, and other things going on. And when he gets one, he's out cold. Like, he's totally out. Mm-hmm. But match RKO doesn't seem to be as powerful. And I was like, okay. I was like, he was dead on SmackDown. Now he's like, oh. Like that. But I don't know.
He didn't quite get all of it.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, sure. So there we go. I don't have much else to say on that. That was Backlash 2025. Have you got anything else you want to add about this event before we move on to other things?
No, I think we can definitely start talking about other things that have happened. I would like to talk Money in the Bank predictions, but first, probably need to just touch upon the Logan Paul Jey Uso match, maybe.
Of course, yes. So Logan Paul versus Jey Uso is confirmed for Saturday night main event, and so is another match, I believe. CM Punk and God, it's right there in my Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker versus CM Punk and help me out.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. There you go. So we got another pay-per-view next week, and it should be okay. But man, they're breathing. But the next main pay-per-view is going to be Money in the Bank, which I think should be really solid. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Any opinions on this one, Mark?
I did think that Logan Paul was the person to take that title off him.
Do you think so?
I just think people would be like really annoyed.
Yeah.
But because it's so soon in Jey Uso's reign, I think Jey Uso retains. But I think Logan Paul is definitely a future being world champion.
I agree. I think I agree. I think he's going to be a future heavyweight champion. Jey Uso's pretty much booked up for the year. I don't see him losing the belt possibly this year. I don't know. He seems to have got quite a few feuds building up. He's got Logan Paul. If you caught any of highlights from Raw, you're going to get Gunther versus Jey again, because I don't think Logan Paul is taking the belt off Jey. It's way too soon. They built Jey Uso promoting as much as they could out of him for like 6 weeks, maybe longer. To take the belt off him 3 weeks later is like, nah. I think he's going to have it on for a while. Is it a match I'm particularly looking forward to? I can't say that I'm sitting on the edge of my seat for this one, because, as I said before, I like Jey Uso, but I'm not really that into him as a wrestler.
No.
I think he's got a bit of work to do. So, but Logan Paul, though, he's amazing to watch, to be quite honest. So, yeah. So we've got that as well. Saturday night's main event, I'm sure you're going to get maybe Io Sky will defend her title, to be honest. I don't see her losing it. Yeah, she's over, she's great. And I guess we'll just see what's happening there. But other than that, I don't really have much else to talk about Saturday night main event.
Just one thing very quickly. Paul Heyman had the best management promo I've seen in many years. And just so happened, Jey Uso was in the ring to go, are you okay? What a part. That was one of the best things that's happened recently.
Yes. We've had a lot of good promos recently. Paul Heyman's was great. Like, you could just see the veins popping out of his eyes, when he was just shouting like he really was. And it was also a good justification as well. Like, I spent years building up Roman Reigns, years like that, and then that happens, and I'm like, so I don't take any responsibility for that whatsoever. He had that match in the bag, and he chose not to do it, and it's just like, yeah, all right, cool, I think that works. Also, Pat McAfee's promo for his Gunther match as well, I thought was really good. I was like, Pat McAfee can cut a promo. I was like, that was really good. That was a good story. But yeah, we've had a lot of good stuff going. So I think we're starting very slowly starting to see where things might be going. And that's why I keep going towards Money in the Bank. Because I'm like, okay. So WrestleMania Backlash is done. It contributed almost absolutely nothing to the narratives of all the wrestlers. But Money in the Bank, I think that's a good key event, that is. Because that's going to, in my opinion, it's going to elevate someone else. That's what I think Money in the Bank should be. So do you want to talk about Money in the Bank? Have you got any ideas of where you think this might be going? Yes, that was a positive yes. Okay. So what I did, and I'm going to let you go first, but I booked what I think would make a great men's Money in the Bank match and a women's one as well. And that is all I've done. So I thought, well, let's just keep this open in regards to that. I haven't booked any singles match, any championship matches, nothing, just those matches. So what are you thinking?
Did you want to do the men's first and then go on to the women's, maybe?
Sure. Okay. So I was looking at this and I was like, I look at Money in the Bank as a way of elevating a mid-carder. So I thought, I've got two angles from this. You could either go for the kind of mid-carder who should have the Money in the Bank waiting in the wings approach, or we could go for the ultimate Money in the Bank match, which will be all of your heavy hitters. Your Seth Rollins, your Roman Reigns, your Cody Rhodes, just the best of the best. But I thought none of those wrestlers need it. Like, they're already up there. If they wanted a WWE Championship match on the next pay-per-view, they're already justified to have it because they're already top of the game. They're the high echelon. So I have got, in the men's, Bron Breakker, Penta, because you got to have a bit of Penta, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Gunter. And I was like, you've got a few wrestlers there that I think would be very believable winners, because I thought, I like the who could it be? Now, my money would be Sami Zayn, because he's already expressed an interest in having the belt. But I'm like, do I book Sami Zayn to win Money in the Bank, or do I book him to win the Royal Rumble? I think he's getting one of them. But that's what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts?
So I've gone with more like the story angle based.
Yep,
and
which is the correct move.
The people,
I've gone for what I wanted.
the people that I thought would be in this match, similar to you, but it does have to include for me, Sami Zayn, CM Punk.
Oh, I crossed him off.
Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker.
Yeah.
The other two for me don't really matter.
Yeah.
And this is why. My call, Bron Breakker wins the Money in the Bank this year. Or is about to and then gives it to Seth Rollins.
Interesting.
Or he does win it and then gives it to Seth Rollins as a gift. I think that something like this could happen, especially in the whole spectrum of Seth Rollins wanting to rule everything and him always doing this.
Yeah.
Hand me the chair.
Yeah.
Give me the briefcase could happen. And he doesn't even have to win the match.
There is that. Yeah, you could have Bron Breakker clear the ring, just spear the living daylights out of everybody, and then literally just goes to Seth like, ascend my liege, or something like that. So, because this is obviously going to result in a match at some point. You're going to get Bron versus Seth. It's wrestling. Betrayal is always on the cards, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But this whole thing is also kind of to elevate Bron. So they made the right decision of getting the Intercontinental belt off him because he's bigger than it. And I'm like, yeah, put him with Seth and let's build up this dude because he's over with the crowd. So yeah, they like him. But
I can definitely see him as some Money in the Bank as well. He's just got that about him. Bron Breakker walking around with the Money in the Bank briefcase. If it happened this year, it will happen the next year. You know, that's a terrifying thought. It's like when Brock Lesnar had the briefcase.
Yeah, that's true. And I was like, I wanted to give it, like I said, who's going to elevate it? Like, I put Penta in it because he would do some good spots. All right. He'll probably somehow do a Mexican destroyer off the ladder, on the ladder that's bouncing on the ropes and in the ladder. You know, and they do that kind of like L-shaped thing where they put a ladder up and they put one through on top of the top rope going into the other ladder. I can just see a Mexican destroyer happening from that thing. I thought that's why Penta's there.
Yeah.
But I was like, Chad Gable could be, and this is tying into what you ticked in my mind. You could have Chad Gable with the Money in the Bank, and then you could have El Grande Americano as the AAA champion. Two different wrestlers. I thought interesting.
Yeah.
I personally think LA Knight is taking it. I want Sami Zayn, but I think LA Knight's going to win Money in the Bank. What do you think? How does that? Ooh, this does not please him.
Last year's was Damien. No, not. It was Damien Priest, and then it was Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
So both of them. Well, Damien Priest needed it.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre not really.
No.
Because just get a title shot at any point. I think this time it needs to go to somebody that is on the rise, like you say. That mid carder that needs something come over. It won't be anyone like Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio. You can sort of count them out. Dominic's going to have the Intercontinental title for a little while. And that's
he should.
He's in his Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, them sort of stage right now.
Yeah.
Where they, like Kurt Angle and everyone like that was fighting just over the Intercontinental title for years. That's what Dominic Mysterio is going to be now.
Yeah. Keep it on Dom.
You know,
it makes him still hated, but kind of a little bit more respected. Like he's entering that grey area. Like people were so happy when Dominic won the belt that for a moment you completely forgot that this guy is a full-on heel. To be quite honest. So it's really good. The fact that he's boasting with it as well, like just to say I'm the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. But I mean, I know every wrestler says that, but coming from him, it just makes him a bit more hateful, but also kind of it starts to annoy the crowd a bit more, which is what he's meant to do. He's meant to be hated. He's doing a great job, to be quite honest, because he had some big shoes to fill, man, coming into this business, and he's found his own path, and that's great. But yes, so I booked that match with Bron Breakker, Penta, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and originally I put Rusev, but I replaced him with Gunther because I thought Rusev could be good in this, but it's way too early to put him in the idea of a possible Money in the Bank win. But I was like, well, he's been in WWE before. He's already quite popular. He's already over, but now we have to treat it as if there's a new audience in town. Okay? So, like that. So I thought Gunther, that'll give him his chance to get back at the belt. But now, on Raw, he's already got a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity. So I'm like, he doesn't need it. So, there we go. But I think LA Knight.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Match. That Money in the Bank.
Of course.
So, hello. I think that they're going to go down the Gunther versus Goldberg route.
It's a shame that Gunther
and Goldberg
and Lesnar didn't happen.
I think Goldberg's the next Timu version of Brock Lesnar.
Timu version, yeah. I was on WWE.com today, and I was having a look because I was thinking, who am I going to put in Money in the Bank? And I realised I actually forgot about a lot of wrestlers. So I was looking on there, and Brock Lesnar is still on the website. Under WWE Superstars, Brock Lesnar's still there. So I was like, interesting. I thought they'd be like, get that man out of the picture right now because of the legal situation going on behind the scenes. But I'm like, I've always wanted... Yeah, Brock versus Gunther is a match I very much would like to see. But yeah. That's what I think about my predictions on Money in the Bank based on almost absolutely nothing. But I think that we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. But
so we've got Jey Uso and Gunther at the Money in the Bank. We've got the men's Money in the Bank, and we've got women's Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I know who I think is going to win this.
Okay, go on then.
I reckon they're giving it to someone from NXT this year, and it's going to be Roxanne Perez.
I must admit, I was thinking, yeah, it could be. It could be.
But let's see who you got in there. Let's see the girls you got in there.
It's pretty. Now I look at it, I don't actually think it's that interesting. Okay, I've got Chelsea Green, Rhea Ripley, because you got to have Rhea on the card. Bianca Belair, because you've got the dynamic of Bianca and Rhea. Jade Cargill, the return of Asuka, and Bayley.
Ooh. Nice.
So the reason I've done this is because Chelsea Green seems like a complete fish out of water compared to the rest of these guys. Like, you've got all of these other people up here, but then you've got Chelsea's down here. But she's getting quite popular. Is she women's champion popular? I think she's getting there. Maybe have her with the briefcase, give her about 8 more months. Yeah, could be. Rhea Ripley, of course, Bianca Belair, they've got that feud going on. Jade Cargill, who I have booked to win it, to be quite honest, because look at her. To be quite honest, she looks like a champion. Asuka returning, I think, would be really cool. And Bayley was recently in an interview where she basically confessed that she wasn't quite entirely happy working with WWE because she's just like, I was on the WrestleMania card and then all of a sudden it changed and I wasn't, and I don't know what's going on with my career right now, if I'm completely honest. I don't know how to reinvent myself or what it is I'm doing so wrong, because Bayley has been very poorly booked for quite a long time. So I thought maybe that would be an angle to think possibly her. Maybe she could win it at some point. Io Sky versus Bayley, reminiscent of WrestleMania last year. Or was it 39? I can't remember. One of them. So yeah. Anyway, what do you think?
I like the idea of Oscar versus Io Sky.
Yeah.
For the title.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool. But have you heard that Oscar's coming back, or is that just a wish that she's coming back?
Complete fabrication. I've got no idea. She might be sitting on the beach in Thailand enjoying some time off or whatever from injuries. Haven't got a clue. I was just like, I kind of miss Asuka. I think she's great, to be quite honest. She's one of my favourite in the women's division. And I was just like, that was just I mean, we've got nothing. we don't know that it's not going to happen. But I thought, yeah, it's a fun booking. So, and
no one's qualified yet.
Yeah.
No one's qualified for any matches yet.
No, this is complete speculation. But that's how I looked at it. And I thought, what would be, because you obviously want a match like this where it could go in several different ways. You know, I think last year it was very clear that Tiffany Stratton was winning the Money in the Bank, which she did. So, but I thought if you try and make it like, Chelsea Green could, Rhea Ripley could, Bianca Belair could, but I think they'll cancel each other out. Maybe Jade could climb while they're fighting. I don't know. Asuka's always in there. Bayley's in there. I don't know. I think that could be a solid match. That could go a number of different ways.
And you've got the people that they might lob in the match, like Naomi and Nia Jax, and people like that. They might throw it in. Has Charlotte moved to Raw? No, I don't think.
I don't know what Charlotte's doing right now. Like, she left on a bit of a tantrum, didn't she?
She's was that SmackDown? My dates up. Because Jade, I think it was SmackDown.
Yeah.
And Jade Cargill came out. Jade would be a good person. She'd be a good person to have the case.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill. I don't think it should go to Bianca, Rhea, Becky, Bayley, or any of those people that already had a chance. I think it needs to go to somebody smaller this.
Yeah.
And Roxanne Perez, and this is why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
She was the runner-up in the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And she was in the Elimination Chamber. She's going to be in that match. She's going to be in that match because they like her.
Yeah. She's practically on the main roster.
Is she winning?
I think that would be really good. Yeah.
That's my early prediction for it.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout because you think about where it can go. I did have Naomi in the match, but I crossed her out because I thought you've got Bianca, Jade, and Naomi all in the Money in the Bank match. And I was like, is that too bloated? I was like, to me, that feels like it should be its own triple threat at some point. Maybe that could be. Maybe that could be the Mania match next year, the triple threat between Bianca, Jade Cargill, and Naomi for the championship. I think that seems like a Mania match to me, but I don't know.
They're all fighting Tiffany Stratton at the minute, aren't they? At the same time,
yeah.
Like Naomi, Jade, and Nia Jax are all in that Tiffany Stratton bubble at the minute. So, do any of them even appear in that match? If they're going to do like a Money in the Bank women's title match,
yeah. I don't.
WWE women's title match, isn't it?
I don't think there will be. You know, I mean, the thing is that you've got Money in the Bank. You've got Saturday Night Main Event on the 24th of May. Then you've got Money in the Bank on the 7th of June, and I think you've got the end of that month. You've got Night of Champions. So you basically got a pay-per-view what feels like almost every 3 weeks. And then after that is Night of Champions. Then after that is SummerSlam.
Two-nighter. We've got a lot coming up.
We have. That's a good thing.
Now that we've had this little chat about Money in the Bank, what are your final early predictions for this? Do you want to change your mind, or do you want to stick it as what you had?
What am I predicting?
So you said LA Knight or Sami Zayn?
As it stands right now, as an unofficial, he might not even be in the match, to be quite honest. But I'm thinking I think Money in the Bank is going to go to LA Knight because I think he needs to be in that contention. Maybe take it off. Whoever beats Jey Uso at SummerSlam, LA Knight could cash it in there. I don't know, but I think Jey could be losing this bout at SummerSlam. I'm not sure about on that yet. So for now, I'm saying LA Knight, and for the women's, I'm saying Jade Cargill. Like I said, they might not even be in the match, but as it stands right now, I'm like, yeah, sure. I think that'd be quite cool. What about yourself?
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Bron Breakker / Seth Rollins, and for the, I'll take a second to Sami Zayn.
That's who I want to win.
No,
I like LA Knight. He's growing on me. I like the guy a lot. I think he's really cool. But Sami Zayn, I've wanted Sami Zayn to win the Royal Rumble for the past 6 years. To be quite honest, and at the moment, he can now be considered in that echelon of title reign. I was like, not the Intercontinental, he's not a mid-carder anymore. I was like, the turning point for me was the match with Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber. And I was like, okay, he's looking a bit more like a champion now. And I'm like, whereas beforehand, he's a bit too puppy-eyed sort of dog. Like, I don't know if I can do this kind of thing. And I'm just like, it is. So he needs to be a bit more about you. And I think he's got that now. So yeah.
So you did your prediction. I think I'll stick with NXT's Roxanne Perez.
That's a good one.
For this, just because I think it'd be one of those crazy pops. Of the night.
Youngest Money in the Bank winner ever. If she does, she's only 23, isn't she?
I think you'd have to do your little stats on that to see if that's right.
I'll have a Google.
Alexa Bliss in there. I don't really know.
Oh, I totally
don't really know what's happening with her. Because she's come back.
Yeah.
This is probably the last thing we'll say. She's come back with a bit of a wasted surprise on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a white sort of scenario there, which is probably the rest of the world thought that. But could she win it?
Yes,
She could just get a title shot on her own, though, couldn't she?
Also, yes. But it's like, I mean, she did do the Sister Abigail DDT. I was like, oh, am I reading too much into this? Was that a clue? Has Alexa Bliss ever done the Sister Abigail when she's not doing the whole kind of goth kid, like I'm part of the Wyatt family thing? I don't know. I kind of looked at that and thought, is that alluding to something? I'm not sure. Maybe she brings back. But yeah, the Wyatt Six seemed to be an amazing idea. Sorry, carry on.
There needs to be something with her. And like you said, it's an amazing idea for the Wyatt Six. Just pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's injured, they don't even have to be there for, like, the Wyatts were always like an elusive spectacle. Like, you didn't know, like, when and where they're going to be. And none of them, not all of them have to wrestle. They can't all be injured. So just sort it. It's too long.
It's true. I just want to see them. I tell you, one is interesting is Karrion Kross, and I was like, Karrion Kross is. I've always thought this Karrion Kross has got something there. He's just not being booked correctly, but I'm like, he could be something. An interesting fact as well. He sold more T-shirts. He was the top-selling T-shirt seller on WWE.com last month, and I was like,
because he's telling the truth.
I was like, interesting. I was like, not Jey Uso. I was like, okay. Probably because everyone's already got one, to be honest.
Well, thank everybody out there for coming over and having a listen to our brand new third episode of so keep tuning in.
Awesome. Thank you very much. See you guys soon.
That's good to go.